Hello, everybody, and welcome today to a really exciting interview with the fabulous Sue Wesby. Hello, Sue.
Hello.
I have known Sue for a number of years now, and I have just absolutely loved her drive and enthusiasm for property, business, and overall, actually, life. You have just such is it a joie de vivre or something? This kind of real passion for life and living your best life and being, having the life that you choose. And I think that is amazing. And certainly something that I've kind of taken on board and really aspired to. So I was really excited today to get you here and to hear all about your life journey, I suppose, but obviously more importantly your property journey. And I believe I was kind of there seeing you kind of near the beginning of that. So so for those who don't know you, Sue, do you want to just give a brief intro of who you are, where you live, so that people can start to get to know you?
Well, thank you, Emma. That's a lovely introduction. Yes, so I'm Sue. I'm a mum and a grandma as well, a nana. Live in Northamptonshire, and I've had various corporate jobs, I suppose. I was bank for a number of years, pharmaceutical sales. I've had my own businesses. I own a science business with my husband, Wes, which we set up in 2011. But about 2 years ago, I gave up my full-time employed job with pharmaceuticals to go into property full-time. And that's where we first met because you were one of my mentors at the time. And thank you for that, everything you taught me. And I suppose really over the last sort of couple of years, really, it's been a journey, I suppose, sort of looking at a couple of our buy-to-lets, what we could do differently with those to actually improve our return on investment, and then trying, sort of a couple of other strategies as well. So we've got one service accommodation, and we're currently in the middle of doing a property that we're flipping as well. So yeah, it's all a big learning curve, but I'm a real believer that you're never too old to change your career direction and strive for the life you want to live. I suppose that's my mantra, I believe.
I love it. And Sue looks incredible, but she is honestly a grandma. I know it's hard to believe. She's just absolutely gorgeous inside and out. But has is a mum and a grandma and obviously a wife, etc. A real family lady too. So let's, if we might, go kind of right back. So obviously you've had this corporate career, and then was it kind of what kind of led you towards property? I know you already had a buy-to-let, didn't you? But what kind of drove you towards property rather than something else?
I mean, I've always really loved property, and my dad's sort of job, I suppose, we moved around a lot when I was a child. So actually, that was different experiences. We lived in some fabulous houses, and we lived in some not so nice houses, I suppose, because the houses went with his job. But I think it was more that experience and, I don't know, sort of seeing what you could do with a property, really. I mean, I think I love nothing more than looking at a property and seeing how that could be improved, whether that's change of layout, decor, just to maximise its benefit. So I've always really enjoyed property and what you can do with it, and I think the idea to perhaps do something that you're passionate about but you can turn into a business as well is really good, isn't it? So I think it's just more deciding that actually, why not? Why can't I do that? Other people do it, so there's no reason why I can't have a go at doing that as well.
Absolutely, I love that. And I love the fact that you said a business, because this has been something that has been a huge sort of progression from me. One of the really experienced developers that I interview quite regularly, Paul Merrick, he just talks about the whole thing. It is a business. And I think sometimes people forget that. And in fact, I was talking to some people, that was it. I was talking to some letting agents the other day, and they, excuse me, and they were just saying that, you know, some landlords forget that they are providing a product.
Yes.
You know, and it has to be a decent product. You can't just bury your head in the sand. So it really is a business. So it's great to hear that you kind of did that. So really, what you know, so obviously I met you through mentoring. So I was a mentor for Touchstone, and that's where we met. What made you kind of take that leap? You'd already bought a buy to let. Did you feel that you needed more information? What made you do that jump to go and actually get help with mentoring?
I think, you know, we had a couple of buy to lets, and they did okay, and they do okay. But I think it was more the realization that there's so many other paths you can take, and I think there's a lot of people have maybe one or two buy to lets, or my experience they do, you know, and they sort of tick along quite nicely as well. But it's more the fact that actually I didn't ever think about doing sort of serviced accommodation with one of those, to actually maximize the income that you can get on that property. But not only maximize the income, you're actually providing a service. So ours, for example, allows pets. You know, that's something that you often can't, you know, you can't do and take into a hotel. Or if you've got a family, maybe go into a wedding or something like that. You know, it's perhaps not ideal, is it, to go into a hotel room with a family, with the dog or whatever. So it's about the fact that not only could it be a more beneficial business for us, it's also providing you know, something where there's a gap in the market. So I think realizing how many different strategies there are, and you will know this as well, when I started out with mentoring as well, there's literally so many strategies you can take, and it's almost sort of, well, I can do this and I can do that, and it takes time, I think, to streamline down, well, which way am I going to go? Otherwise you can get caught up in trying to do all these different sort of ideas of which way you can take things forward. So I you know, I think that's really why I knew that I needed to invest in myself, because you need to invest in the education to know that you're taking the right path, you're setting any property purchase up in the right legal entity, maximizing your income, really, you know, making sure you're tax efficient, and understanding all of the sort of, you know, mistakes that hopefully I have made mistakes, obviously, but what I'm saying is minimizing those mistakes that perhaps without education I would make more of.
Yeah, I love that when you talk about you know, this kind of, it's basically an overwhelm, isn't it?
Yes.
Like most of us come from the same position. You know, we kind of grew up, you save up for a deposit, you buy a house, you do it again, and that's pretty much it. I mean, you hear about people doing creative things, but you don't really believe it. And then suddenly you do find out about that, and every single one seems attractive. It's like, oh, I could do that, and I could do that, and I could do that. And it's actually really part of the challenge to get over that, not too quickly, because I think it's important to understand all the strategies, but to have that opportunity to understand them, digest them, feel which ones are right for you, and then kind of move forward. But what a lot of people do, don't they, is they jump from this to that to the other, and then we never really move forward. And even I mean, I remember going to an actual like coach, and just said to him, look, I'm trying to create my business plan, but there's, you know, a million different types of properties. There's about 40 different ways that you can purchase it. There's so many different ways that you can actually, you know, buy it as well, different cash fundings. Then there's loads of different ways that you can monetize it. It was just so crackers and so overwhelming. So it's trying to sort of bring it down. So I can completely understand that.